No. Welcome to another live broadcast of a different day with Ja. Um, my co-host is once again missing in action, so not here again. But luckily, we got Daren, aka Date Like Daren. He is one of the fellow podcaster, and he has his own show also, along with some others called Dialogue 340. Say what's up, man? To who don't
Hey
know.
man, so I'm Daren, also known as Date Like Daren, and co-host of Dialogue 340. So I think one of those things that you know me for is, of course, we talk about dating, we talk about topics in the VI and stuff. So I'm just happy to be here with you, man. We'll have a good time.
I appreciate you filling in for my invisible co-host. Thank you so much. I
See,
don't
I have to put
know.
on the glasses. I got Philip a little bit.
I might need some glasses myself. So glasses is on her nationwide tour once again. She might be in Mars. She could be in I don't know, Jabel Ali. I don't know what she did, but she gone. And this man filled in. So I really appreciate him coming through. I appreciate my last co-host Raven was on. Those shows were dope. Also, it actually gives me an opportunity to have other people and get a feel for it. So it's not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Neci, safe travels. I can start a GoFundMe to see if I could keep her home.
Hey, shout out to DC, man.
So what has been going on with your weekend, sir? What you been up to?
Other than working, like I said, we filmed a podcast episode for Dialogue 340. We decided to touch on the topic of men's mental health. So it was kind of a heavy subject. And I had a great guest of host of people. So we really had a really authentic conversation. It took some time, and it's the crazy part. This, the conversation would be so good, and then time to be running out because you can't exhaust the time, or you don't want the conversation to stay too long. But I think once that comes out, I think it's going to make for good conversation. And I think we have talked about it in the past, but men's mental health really needs to be addressed. And I hope a conversation like that opens up, the public to think about it, and then for men, to start considering things like therapy and addressing the mental health. Honestly, we kind of like put it always play to the side because we want to feel like we're in control and always feel like we're good, but in reality, sometimes we're not, and we need to address that. So I'm hoping that starts that kind of conversation.
Oh, it is. Is it Mental Health Awareness Month? Am I tripping?
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay. Is that why you guys did that episode?
Yeah, that's part of the reason why we did it. Because I think last year we did an episode, which was really good. But I think, we wanted to do the men's because, again, I think the ladies have like a advantage or been at the head of the game. Is now for us to start catching up. And I think in terms of society, if we don't address this, we're going to continue to trend in the wrong direction. So that's the reason why we decided to do it.
That's good. We do need it, although we've come a long way, especially the males in our community, because I feel like this is the most emotionally intelligent generation so far. We have a lot to go, especially in the Caribbean, because Caribbean men especially can be very own way, very backward in their thinking, and we do need to get out of it for sure. So
yeah, and we gotta step it up. And I always say this, right? And it's not to be like a pick me or anything like that, but it's like we really need to step it up because the ladies been doing way too much and have too much on their plate. We need to step it up and take more of our part in the society.
Yeah, and I think it's because we have a lot to shed. You know what I'm saying? We have a lot of past trauma and stuff related to mental health and being strong and what strong looks like. So we have all of that to shed as far as being men and being black men. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of men don't cry and stuff like that, and what strong and being an alpha and masculine means and all of that we're dealing with. So yeah, I agree with you, man. It's good that y'all doing that. We definitely need that.
Yeah, man. So hey, one day, and I can tell you, you gotta come on one day for sure. But for now, we're gonna focus on a different day today.
No, for sure. I'm gonna come. I tell you, I gotta be ready. I can't like y'all got that good HD and stuff over there. I gotta be ready. I gotta be dressed and everything, line up everything. I can't go over there slipping. Can't even have
Yeah,
my
I
ear.
got you.
But yeah, that's what's up. I will definitely come on and talk to you guys, man. When I come back home, I'm gonna let you know in advance, and then we'll go from there.
You never know in the near future. Maybe we may have to do it remotely. We'll see. We never know what comes up.
Let me know. You know, I'm all about remote. All right, so let's get into it. Thank you, everybody. Please remember to share the live. Share the live. Keep track of the banner down below. It changes every so often, and that's some announcements scrolling on your screen also. But let's get into it. So, what time is it? You know what going on in the Virgin Islands right now?
Whew. Carnival time. Well, it's about to wrap up right now, but yeah,
it's Carnival, baby. So let me show some highlights of St. Thomas Carnival. We get some right now. I want to show that thing. All right. It does. It looked good. Shout out to everybody that went to St. Thomas Carnival, all of the fetters, all of the mass people, mass players, especially those in the parade. Because parade ain't easy, man. It'll be hot out there sometimes. It looked like it was wet, but
yeah, it was a wet for this week. So yeah, listen, it was raining every single day.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I mean,
it depends how you look at it. So, you know, especially I think about the girls who want to look their best, they want to have the makeup, the hair. Probably not the best environment for them. But others might revel in a wet fit, so it just depends on how you look at his perspective.
Facts. Now, there's been a big discussion in the last week or so about 100 men versus one gorilla. And apparently the gorillas came out and nobody wanted to smoke. Yo.
Hey, that's hilarious. That was hilarious. Listen, I'm gonna have to find me a bear costume. That's what I think I'm gonna do next year. Hey, coming months up here.
Well, as hot as it is though, you gonna spend like how long you think you're gonna last in that costume as hot as it'll be? Really?
Hope it's a wet fit, because if that is pure carnival sun, yeah, ain't gonna last long.
You ain't gonna feel it inside the costume. That's the thing.
You're gonna be sweating out, like you're gonna be like a sauna in there.
Shout out to them, man, because I would have passed up. I'm telling you now. I had to sweat too much already.
It was fun though. Like I like it because it's like it's creative.
For sure.
It touched on our subject. And first of all, let me go this way. None of I was fighting a gorilla. First of all, when they got a barking dog, everybody hollering, running hard. So you gonna fight a gorilla? I ain't minding that. No. They about to fight no gorilla.
They never really said the parameters, like what do we win? You know what I'm saying? It's 100 of you versus a gorilla, but what do we get? Like we ain't doing this thing for fun. Nobody eats gorilla, so what we doing? You check what I'm saying? Like they never really answered that.
But you know what? I like it because it's like a hypothetical situation that nobody for sure knows the answer to. It's just basically, are you gonna think outside the box? How you gonna view it? So I think it's a fun conversation. I'm not hating it all. I just know, from my perspective, I don't think nobody's gonna be fighting a gorilla. I don't care if it's 100, because all you gotta do is make an example of one, and the rest will fly away.
Once you take one person on, everybody gonna scatter. So me ain't trying to hear that there. But yeah, they I don't think people know how much they could lift, and you know what I'm saying? Like they got teeth, they got claws, they strong. Man, they tall as hell. What more you come on?
Bigger, stronger, faster.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, come on, be for real. We do have some very unfortunate news.
Yes.
So we wanna put this out very, sensitively, and I want to say in advance condolences to the family of this young man. In St. Thomas, a man was fatally shot just after midnight on Sunday, May 4th, effectively late Saturday night in the restroom of the Fort Christian parking lot, bringing a tragic and abrupt end to the final night of village activities during this year's St. Thomas Carnival. According to the VI Police Department, the shooting occurred during the final hours of the celebration. The incident, which took place just after midnight, was confirmed to be fatal. Details surrounding the circumstances of the shooting are still emerging. VIPD Director of Communications Glenn Drake told the consortium that the victim has been identified as 26-year-old Frankie Matthew. At the time of the shooting, several musical performances were still scheduled to take place. The village was officially shut down at approximately 12:15 a.m., cutting short the festivities that were planned to close out what had been a rain-soaked carnival season. Tonight's events mark the final gathering in a carnival that faced numerous challenges due to inclement weather. Organizers and revelers had hoped for a strong and festive finish despite the rain, but the night ended instead under a cloud of tragedy and concern. Yeah, so my condolences. What you guys say on that, Darren?
So yeah, my condolences as well. Is a really sad situation, but like, cause we was, in a sense, we was talking about it today when we did the recording. Is like so many layers to peel when it comes to men's mental health and like violence and all these things. Like I always say, like the one thing is what's concerning is like when there's a lack of empathy, right? And we're not saying just empathy for just there should be a lot of empathy for the victim and before you do it, but you're not even thinking about the people that are surrounded by it, right? They have families, the people who was at the event.
Mm-hmm.
That's a traumatic experience to even be around it, to hear it, to see it. Like it's just this lack of empathy that or blinded by anger, rage, whatever that looks like, because you will never know what took place in that moment. But we have devalued the life of a person so much that it's easily just discarded, right? It could be, we don't like you got to go, whatever that case is. We've decreased the value of a life, and it's just getting disregarded very fast, and it's really unfortunate. We've lost, like, it's started to feel like it's normalized in a sense. Like we just lost somebody that was a part of a band a couple weeks ago on St. Croix. Now we have this, and it's just young people. Like these guys are still trying to come up in their lives. They're still trying to figure it out, and then their life ends. I don't know if this person has kids or whatever the case is, but somebody could be potentially without their father. Somebody's out without their son now because he has parents. It's just a sad situation all around, and I just wish that we operated better and treated life as precious as it should be.
Thank you for that. That's well said. So if you're just joining us, if you're just joining live, we're talking about, unfortunately, we started it off pretty light on Carnival. We showed some clips from Carnival, everybody enjoying themselves. Unfortunately, Carnival ended on a tragic note with the loss of life of a young man. If I'm not mistaken, he was in his 20s, I think it said.
I think it was 26.
Yeah, that's hard. So you were talking about men's mental health. And I think what I noticed, right, because I left the Virgin Islands very early, very young, 17 when I joined the military and left. What I found out very quickly is that we come up where violence we're quick to respond in anger. And I realized very early that this isn't normal. Like
No.
just swinging at somebody. You know what I mean? Like they look at you crazy. Compare like people don't do that in the States for real as much as we do it. Like you could swing on somebody home and police won't even they'll talk you down. You know what I mean? Like you won't get locked up or nothing like that. But up here, it's really assault. It's really going jail. It's really a big deal. And I learned that very quickly. And I wonder why. What is it about the Virgin Islands? What is it about the Caribbean that we like? We're so quick to anger because it seems to be that's the one response we have as men in the Caribbean that we express in its entirety.
See, I don't know if there's a one shot answer. Like, I think we have to re envision or reimagine our place in society, right? Because again, I think there's this thing where we don't de-escalate. The only expression that societal wise, I'm not talking about individual, but societal wise, men are only able to express is anger, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to reimagine it because like we all know culture is fluid, right? But it's coming to a disservice, right? And I don't know, it's so much to like peel back. Like we was even talking about like an instance, like you could go into a spot and you may have just seen something and some might think you're watching them way too hard. And then
Yeah.
I pop and like and oh, I will say this, right? I think I remember one of the things. I think we've been in survival mode for so long, and still are, right? I think there was a point, there was a short period of prosperity, or we had prosperity, and now we came into the survival mode. So now, when you're in survival mode, you're thinking about, oh, I gotta take out this person before they get me, or I need to, you know, be in competition with this person because they got something that I don't have and I need it. Like we just have to develop a different mentality and get out of survival mode. The unfortunate part is, in order to get out of survival mode, we have to have a society that's thriving, right? We have to be a better educated society. People have to be able to do well. Like, think about it, like, imagine, for example, we brought up an example, like, imagine seeing a mother work 2, 3 jobs. You're like, I ain't never doing that. So you might think about doing like risky stuff to keep you away from that kind of lifestyle. But in doing that thing that keeps you in violence, that keeps you from having to do certain things, like, I just wish that we didn't have individuals that had to feel like they had to live the street life, but also feel like if they do work a normal job, that they
That's
could feel fulfilled. They could work one job, they could pay out their bills, they could be with their kids, stay out of risky behavior, feel fulfilled. Like, I think that's the thing is Virgin Islanders are not feeling fulfilled right now.
okay.
Like, we have to we surviving, we have to kind of find things to distract us from the really hard life. But until we deal with that, we're gonna always be in survival mode, and this is a byproduct of being in survival mode.
All right. That's great points that you make, and I want to spin back to that. But first, let me read these comments from Rudy Walker real quick. Rudy's saying we got to teach our kids discipline and how to de-escalate conflict. But a moment of anger can be deadly. Learning how to control your emotions is something that we got to learn. And I agree, because that took me a long time, and it's something that I'm still learning. Because again, right, I hear you on the survival mode thing. What we do need to acknowledge, though, along with the fact of us being in survival mode, we have to understand and recognize why. Right?
Agreed.
A lot of people don't like to hear, hey, the Virgin Islands is a third world country and stuff like that. It doesn't sound good to hear it. It doesn't feel good to hear it. But what do you call a place that struggles with infrastructure, like simple things like lighting? What do you call it when you don't have access to clean water, the whole place? What do you call that? What do you call it when simple things like your roads are not maintained? Only in 2025, they're talking about putting up street signs. What do you call a place like that? That's not to be insulting enough. That's just saying that we need to acknowledge it so we could go ahead and make the fixes and get us to where we need to be. But if we can't even acknowledge this is where we are and this isn't normal, we can't make no moves. And what we also need to recognize and acknowledge, the number one cause of crime is poverty.
Mm-hmm.
People that are succeeding,
Yes.
doing well, have jobs, have money in the pocket, and driving good cars and stuff like that are not thinking about robbing the next man. So don't let any.
And just above your point, that statistically, when you look at places that poverty is low, crime is also lower. Now you have a difference where you might have like white collar crime and those kind of things, but like actual violent crime goes down tremendously. So I just want you to say that to buffer your point.
And this, this may not be towards the points that we're making right now, but also don't let nobody make you believe that there's such a thing as black on black crime. Because there's no such thing as white on white crime. Why is it? Crime, violent crime, is a crime of vicinity. People that are near each other are more likely to cause harm to someone they're in close proximity to. All right.
And also, I think the black on black crime thing was to deflect from the main issue, because it was like, don't point the finger at us. Look what you guys are doing. You know what I'm saying? So we have to, like you say, agreed. Crime is about proximity.
Yeah.
And where you're surrounded at the time. It's unfortunate, like, but we have to, like, I even make a point, even though that might come back and sting at some point. I feel like there's times where I see these like different offices of gun prevention and this and that and stuff. Is like, all we're doing is treating the symptom of the problem. We're not addressing the root cause of the problem, which goes down to,
thank you.
It's just like you said, economics, and not just pure economics in terms of money, but socioeconomic problems. Like, everything has like a trickle down effect. If I like you just talked about, I don't have a good foundation in terms of structure and like things like issues with like power and the roads and those kind of things, not having schools that are functionable, that are basically falling apart. You can't spend time with your mother because she got to work 2-3 jobs just to keep a roof over their heads and a whopper bills. You home kicking it by yourself, like 14, 15 years old, you're idle. So guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna probably end up hanging around with the wrong people, and your attention is going to that, and then your mother is feeling helpless because she has to keep her roof over the heads and she can't be a nurturing mother. And then we couple the fact where fathers are absent and those kind of things. Well, we create a broken society, and that took place over time, and now we're in the results that we're in right now.
That boy, that good. That boy.
Yeah, I'll fly for this morning, so yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got bars. You're spitting today. I like it. And all of that thing is not to say that the Virgin Islands is bad. The situation that we're in needs to get fixed. The Virgin Islands and Virgin Islanders are not bad. The situation is bad, right? Because like, how many schools closed down? Like Charles H., where I used to go for elementary, that closed. Like, come on.
Arthur Richards is closed. Evelyn Williams doesn't exist anymore because we put Arthur Richards in the place of Evelyn Williams. My former junior high school, Elena Christian, is gone. There's like a couple other schools, man. Like there's the one out there by Concordia, I forget the name, where all the wood, when they say wood in quotation marks, is being kept. That school is closed. It's not even functioning. It's like man, I'm probably gonna get in trouble for this, but I'm gonna say this right.
Hold up. Let me put it. Hold up. Before you even say disclaimer: the views and opinions on this show do not necessarily reflect the views of the broadcaster. Do not hold 101 to be responsible for anything we say. Go ahead.
What I was gonna say is, what I don't like, I'm not gonna call by anybody in particular, but I want to just say the situation. Let's not try to paint the Virgin Islands with a gold brush when we have issues. Until we admit to ourselves that we have a problem, we're never gonna move forward. It's like, basically, remember in school you read the book Emperor's New Clothes, where they had to tell the emperor that he was naked. Like, that's where we are right now. And because of the politics and because we have all these like agendas and these things, we kind of there's people that can't even admit out loud we have a problem. And that's a problem in itself, right? We're not where we need to be. And we're not saying like there's cities that go through cities and states and places that go through times, right? Because it's very impossible to you to always be thriving, right? It's okay to say that. All right, let's take a step back. We need to plan. Give us a 5-year plan. Give us a 10-year plan. Like I'll give an example. Like Detroit. Detroit was a bad space for a very long time, and because they took the time to take a step back, we plan this. We hold whoever accountable, and because they did that, now they're an emerging city in the United States where people want to go there. It looks metropolis like it they improve over time. So it can happen, but until we admit there's a problem, we shift our priorities. We now make changes, whatever that is. I could think about a couple of things like we do a new constitution or we adopt the Organic Act. Like we have so much stalemates in here that we haven't changed from the 60s and the 70s. And we're now in modern times, like because we never made any structural changes, we're not going any place, and we're actually declining or receding at this point. Until we are admitting to that, we're gonna stay in this place. Like we're gonna complain about the same things every single year with no structural changes. Until we admit the problem, we are the problem.
All right, Daren for governor. What I think.
Whew. I don't know about that, Lemon son. I don't know about that. I will support whoever will be the next governor, but I don't know about me being governor. You know what? We'll say. Well, I think Siobhan should be governor.
No,
yeah, I'm gonna throw it on her.
She don't want that. She don't want that. I don't think she wants that.
She probably does. She don't.
Siobhan, what you say? All right. We're gonna move on to the next topic here so we can get through this, because there's one thing that I really want to talk about, and I'm trying to get time to get in here. Please share the live if you're watching. Have others join the conversation. Let them find out about a different day with Ja. And thanks, Daren, once more for filling in. All right. In national news, because national concern it's actually international at this point. The Trump administration has enacted sweeping tariffs on all trading partners, suggesting that U.S. trade policy has turned decisively less business-friendly than previously anticipated. The drag on sentiment and growth could be substantial. Could a recession be in the cards? In early April, JP Morgan Research raised the probability of a recession occurring in 2025 to 60%. A call it maintains despite recent tariff developments. The U.S. policy mix appears to be shifting further, perhaps unintentionally, from supporting the current expansion, said Bruce Kasman, chief global economist at JP Morgan. Even with the latest step back from the draconian Liberation Day measures, the 145% tariff on China alongside the universal 10% tax on other countries actually lifts the U.S. average tariff rate to around 30%. The ex-ante, free substitution tax hike amounts to nearly $1 trillion, or 3% of GDP, making it the largest tax increase on U.S. households and businesses since World War II. You hear that there? Mm-hmm. Largest tax increase.
You hear me exhale so hard?
Okay. All right. While this might not be paid, as there will be a significant curtailment of trade, the effects could be magnified by retaliation, a slide in business sentiment, and further supply chain disruptions. What remains is still enough to push the U.S. and China, and thus likely the global economy, into a recession this year, Kasman said. While the current position of the U.S. and global expansion suggests the imminent downturn could be less severe than the last two downturns, which were also under Republican presidents, I'd like to say. Recessions are inherently unpredictable, as Kasman noted. Another important concern is that sustained restrictive trade policies and reduced immigration flow may impose lasting supply costs, which will lower U.S. growth over the long run. He had it. Now, here's Trump. Now we know, well, not all of us knew that tariffs was going to lead to a recession, but the ones who were smart enough to figure it out knew all along it would head here. And Trump was denying it would be a recession. Now here is Trump on NBC. Here's how he feels about the recession.
Some people on Wall Street have expressed concerns that the possibility of a recession is increasing. And I want to know what you think about that. Are you comfortable with the country potentially dipping into a recession for a period of time if you are able to achieve your long-term goals?
Well, you say some people on Wall Street say, well, I can tell you something else. Some people on Wall Street say that we're going to have the greatest economy in history. Why don't you talk about them? Because some people on Wall Street say this is
well, that's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at, though. It's the same question.
Yeah, there are many people on Wall Street say this is going to be the greatest windfall ever happened.
And that's my question.
Remember
the
this.
long term.
Yeah.
Is it okay in the short term to have a recession?
This. Look, everything's okay. What we are, I said, this is a transition period. I think we're going to do fantastically.
I don't know them people on Wall Street. I don't know.
You see, I have to take off my glasses. Like,
am I laughing at the Daren for governor in the chat? That's okay, then. Rudy says, I've been saying a recession is coming for a few years. The way inflation is, it's bound to happen, only a matter of time. Ron says this is the largest increase after already experiencing sharp inflation starting in 2020. I also blame the Fed, but we ain't gonna get into that right now. Daren, what do you think about that?
You know what's the crazy part? This man finesse, like we gotta start studying. Like Trump gonna be, like his case gonna be in universities for a very long time.
Okay,
he was able to finesse not once but twice the American people, right? Because like you talk about that number, the 2020 inflation started in 2020. Wasn't that either the last year or just exiting his presidency?
Well, that was kind of attributed to COVID too, though.
I get it, and we can always talk about that was also mishandled as well too.
Yeah.
So he finessed us 2 times, and some of the greatest downfalls took place in his administration. Like you talk about too, this is a reoccurring theme whenever Republicans take office, and I'm not throwing shade, but this is just the reality. When they take office, a recession or some sort also follows, or some kind of economical downturn. Like there was a report that stated that every time a Republican president goes in, the debt ceiling increases not by like a few million, not by 100 million, but by billions or trillions, right? So we allow them to finesse us so many times. But yes, I agree. I think I've been saying this since last year. A recession is coming, and I think they was doing efforts to stave it off, but he just further accelerated. My concern is, the AirPod came out. We talking recession, which I believe is going to happen. I think we're bordering on depression, because when we talk about, if you look at history, a depression followed by severe tax hikes, which is what the tariffs are. So I'm afraid for it. I don't know if you saw this too, but there's reports that we're talking about, we're dependent on goods being sent from China and these places. But because of this tariffs and stuff, businesses in the US are literally saying, I got either decrease the amount of stuff I bring in, or I have to shut down completely. Even to the point where the ports in April are expected to get far less shipment. So now that affects truckers, that affects retailers, it affects small businesses and large businesses. Like the thing that disturbs me is whenever, like, and anybody that's in business and economics, right? Whenever you make a decision, right, you need to do some what I'm looking for the word, but you need to do the work, the math, the equations, whatever that looks like, right, to see the possible outcome. Then you try to use data to measure your approach. He's just doing haphazardly. I don't even know if he has an actual measurement. He's just doing whatever he thinks is best, and then he's doing it in such a rush. Like usually, like if you're gonna do stuff like this, you need to plan it over a period of time. He just came on day one and just been destructive, right? And this is the scary part about all of this, right? This is an actual report that within his 100 days, 20%, not 20% of the beginning of the year, we're talking about 20% of the overall US economy was wiped away from the stock market stuff crashing, the tariffs, and they're saying it's going to take at least 20 to 25 years, basically a generation, to get all of that back in. That's why I feel like we're bordering depression, because you can't just wipe 20% off and be like, everything is okay. And like this dude said, like it was a couple of days ago, your kids you may have to be able to buy your kids $30, so now you gotta do two and it may cost more. Like he don't get it. Like he just lack every form of empathy, and we're headed down a destructive path. Sorry for taking up, but this is crazy stuff.
Partner Lawrence O'Donnell called him Donnie Two Dolls when he said that, which I like that name. But yeah, in case you missed it, Donald Trump acknowledged that people gonna feel a little pain come Christmas, especially because toy makers are actually already talking to bankruptcy, firms and stuff like that, because they're not going to be able to order or get the toys that they would need, and then Americans won't have the money come Christmas, by the looks of it, to buy the toys. So if you're a toy maker, that's your business. That's all you got. So now Trump said to that, basically, maybe you'll only be able to buy your child two instead of $30. So now he's being called Donnie Two Dolls. But as far as depression, I don't want to scare anybody. As far as the depression, I actually looked into what happened with the Great Depression, and that was kind of a perfect storm, for lack of a better term, of a lot of bad judgment calls by Hoover, who a lot of people don't even talk about. But it was like, at the time, people were taking out loans to buy stocks. There was no stoppage to how far the stocks could fall, which that has changed. People don't really take out loans to buy stocks like they used to. I don't think that a depression could happen, only because there's too many safeguards since the last depression that have been put into place. You know what I'm saying? I understand, and I have been paying attention. Trump has certain safeguards in place himself. Like, he was making certain moves until the bond market started falling. Then he was like, okay, let me ease up. Like, he doesn't just keep going and keep going, It's when a poll number or a bond market or something that would hurt him happens, he stops. So the fact that he's basically the reason for all of these issues, he knows that he could stop them too. So I wouldn't go as far as saying a depression, but I do believe a recession is coming, because the materials that we need, a lot of it comes from China. And the last time we ran out of materials, construction ceased, and then people laid off, and then, the banks stopped lending. And so I do see that happening. I ain't gonna lie to you. So this is not the time to go buy a BMW. That's all I was saying. This is not the time to go buy a new house. They laying off people in the federal government by the tens of thousands.
And if they had their way, they'll do more, because a lot of the stuff got kicked back.
Right. Because right now, I just see his administration pushing fences, like, to see when you gonna stop me. That's what I see. Then talking about $5,000 for a kid, huh? It's funny because I done an episode on the decline of babies, and I had to decline from going to that show because it just sort of pissed me off. Because why are we talking about making children right now? Like, do you not see what's going on? What are we talking about that? And 5,000 ain't going nowhere. That does not even cover half of the hospital bill. So you already in debt by the time you leave the hospital.
Shoot, 5K can't even finance just for example, a good trip overseas. Really and truly. Exactly. What is 5,000? Like, people spend 5,000 in a month Like, what is 5,000 per kid? Like, this is like hilarious stuff.
And what a lot of people didn't notice about that 5,000 per kid, it's 5,000 per child if you're married. It's not just for everyone. It was if you're married. Remember, traditional Christian values, right?
Mm-hmm.
A quarter, 5,000. Oh, and that's another reason why you might classify the Virgin Islands as a third world country. People, is there a viable hospital right now?
Boy, whew.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
Healthcare is definitely looking.
Okay. All right. There's something I really wanted to talk to you about, because if it's one thing you're good at, it's talking about Virgin Islands issues. You to be knowing, you to do your research. I'll give you that day. You to be knowing what you're talking about. So please, please, please help me understand this. There's been a discussion going around online about a convenience fee, right?
Oh,
A convenience fee. So we're going to read it out to you. I don't put it on the screen, but we're going to read it out to you. What's really important, I think, is this first bit. This is from the Department of Licensing and Consumer Affairs, Office of the Commissioner. The Virgin Islands DLCA is reminding all businesses and service providers that it is illegal to impose credit card surcharges on transactions made with debit cards, prepaid cards, or gift cards. Under applicable and network rules, merchants are entirely prohibited from applying surcharges to these types of transactions. Surcharges are permitted only for credit card purchases, and even then, businesses must follow specific disclosure requirements and appropriate fee structures. Businesses are encouraged to familiarize themselves with the card network rules to ensure compliance. Both Visa and MasterCard clearly prohibit surcharges on debit, prepaid, and gift card transactions. Detailed guidance can be found in their official policies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was a debate that split the VI for some reason between the businesses and the consumers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the issue was, if businesses don't charge this fee that is illegal, they're going to end up charging the customer more, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, you're already charging me more. It's a fee. Mm-hmm. The reason why people use DoorDash is for the convenience, yes, but the fees cost more. And either way, the consumer pays more. But the debate was, these businesses got cover all this WAPA, this water, this, that, and the third. However, mind you, the consumer consumes that fee and all the other charges that you put through. The consumer is the reason why the business is still operating. The consumer also deals with WAPA, with the high cost of living, the bad roads, and all those other things. So now, not only are they doing that, they're trying to consume your charges as well. And you're trying to convince me why this is a benefit for me. Please, you say you take the business side, but please break it down to my feeble mind, because I was told I don't understand.
Who told you they understand? We're going to go into that. So, I will say this. I'm gonna take the business side, but not to defend the business, but just to give another aspect of things, right? I think in the VI, from my experience and in some other areas, right, we're not a business-friendly place. Hear me out.
Okay.
We talk about WAPA. WAPA is a very regressive thing, right? We have basically the third highest. We have the third highest kilowatt charge in the world, not the United States, not the Caribbean, the world.
The world, Craig.
The world. So of course it's regressive, right? It's going to impact us. It's going to impact businesses, right? The reason why I say I want to pick up for the business a little bit is because let's just use in many different ways, right? Let's use the restaurant business, right? It's actually a very low profit margin business, right? Food costs a lot. You have to refrigerate it. You have to do this. You have to do that. So it's hard to take on this, this additional, because the credit merchant fees and stuff have actually been increasing. A lot of people don't know that. but those fees have been increasing over time, right? Especially in the past couple of years. So you have to, if you already have a low profit margin, then you're asking businesses to eat something else as well. So I'm saying from a business aspect, the Virgin Islands, we have not done enough justice to small businesses, which if you do like very basic economical terms, any capitalistic economy is striving from two things. Number one, middle class people. Number two is small to medium sized businesses. If you have, like in the case of the Virgin Islands, where you have people that are leaving to migrate to the United States, when you have small and medium sized businesses are failing, that's a true mark of a declining economy, right? So I feel like I'm not taking aside from adding these charges. I just want people to understand why it's happening, and then let's do something about it. So, like you said, you use the example of DoorDash. If you have to increase your price, do so. There's a thing in business where it's called the break-even formula. Basically, you could break even is just basically if you were to meet all your expenses and you didn't make a profit, at least this is the line that you have, right? So a break even allows you to understand that, okay, if I charge this, I can pay my variable fees, which could be like WAPA, utilities and stuff, your fixed fees, which is what it took to buy the product. So if you understand your break even point, then okay, I can now charge this to make a profit, right? Because of course you're in business, you have to make a profit. I feel a lot of businesses in the VI don't even do that. Know the break even point, because that's a basic, thing that you learn. Like if you go to school for business, that's a basic understanding. If they at least learn that, then they can know, okay, I need to charge this to offset this fee. So, and that's why I just talk about the obstacles it is for business owners. It's really hard, especially in the Virgin Islands, and where, I think things could be improved in the business, in terms of the stuff that's offered from the government to the businesses. I feel like there should be some more support, but I just don't want people to just like start looking at business in a bad light. They're also just trying to survive too as well. So I just want to make sure that part is clear.
For sure. And support local all day. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one of the biggest pushes that we do with Seeing Difference and 101.3 and all of that. Support local all day. You know what I'm saying? And small businesses, from the time you open a small business, you're already in a part of that statistic that majority of the businesses are going to fail within 3 to 5 years. That's anywhere, right? So knowing that, my issue here is the discussion, the way that the discussion was going. You would think that businesses are trying to convince their consumers why me putting this additional fee that is illegal on your debit card is a help to you. It's nonsensical.
No, I would agree with that.
Let me tell you what. You're debating as a business why me charging this fee that I'm not supposed to be charging you, and I'm putting it on your receipt. It's gonna save you money, because otherwise I would have put it in the thing. Think about what you're saying. Is it going to save you money if this person takes their receipt to those bureaus that investigate this and now get you fined or shut down because you're illegally charging a fee somehow to help me? No, hear me out.
Yeah.
If you have a fee or you're trying to offset a fee, right? It would make more sense to distribute it across the board with your charges, with your costs.
Exactly.
Than to put the fee that is illegal on the receipt and say, hey, this is a favor to you. First of all, the charges, every place is going up regardless. Regardless of what, with the tariffs and everything else, the prices are going to increase anyway. So you telling me you charging me this fee so you don't charge me more later don't make no sense. So stop saying that.
I agree. That's definitely not the way to do it. I
That
agree
don't
with
make sense. And then the thing about when you're charging a fee that isn't regulated, isn't supposed to be on there, you know what's gonna happen? Every business that does it is gonna charge a different rate because it's not standard, it's not regulated. So you're gonna charge me 3. They're gonna charge me 10. They're gonna charge me 6. They're gonna charge me 5. What do you think? How do you think people are going to respond? And the fact that you think that's going to help you avoid rising prices, who do you think is going to be the last person to get frequented when the prices really do raise? The people with the extra fees. DoorDash is going to lose business when these tariffs hit because people going to start going directly to the store. They don't get up and go because I could save $3 on my bill.
No, I agree with you. Like, there's even some places that we could talk about, like you like 3%. Like, think about it, 3%. I make a large purchase. Let's say I buy something for $2,000, which could happen. Imagine what 3% of that really means. That 3% is not the same to something that may cost $10, right? So it's like I said, it's not a flat fee, and I feel like, you know, people do feel this way. It's like, yo, you taking advantage of me. Just include it in the cost. I think that's just the simple thing to do it. And like I said, I think it comes down when you don't know what your break-even point is. Also, I'll include rate of return, which is ROI. If you don't understand these basic stuff, then you're just doing stuff haphazardly, and now you're affecting yourself because you're charging this fee, which isn't the same thing for everybody. Like you say, you can have different rates, or that would mean a different amount based on what I'm purchasing. Like, I think they should. I personally think they should cut it out. I was just saying, for me, I understand the business aspect aside, because, you know, you already have so much challenges in the Virgin Islands, and it's not getting better; it's getting worse. Like, until those challenges are being addressed, I know it's hard for businesses. I see it and I live it every day. So, like, we have to do better.
So let me give you an example, right, of how it hit me. When I first saw it, I thought it was wrong off top. I just got verification seeing this. So I went to a place, a restaurant, right? Buying drinks, buying food. I paid for me and 2 other people's stuff. I tipped. It isn't until I get the receipt in my hand, I look it over, that I see I paid you for the meal, I tipped you, and now I have a 3% fee on top of it. You quoted me a price in it. You quoted me an amount. I calculated that. I added the tip for you, and now I get this surprise charge. You think I want to go back there?
Nope. To be honest, I wouldn't want to go back there either.
And that's over $100 and something. We ain't talking about no corner store where it's like, if you spend less than $3, I need to charge you a convenience fee. That actually makes sense to me. But we're talking about, I went to a restaurant, spent over $100 and something, then tipped you, then you charge me another fee on top of that. Then you're gonna lose customers, and then it won't be worth the 3%. And they're not even telling you they do this.
Whew, you know what? It just reminded me of an example, right? This food spot is no longer in existence, right? But I remember I went there, I was really hungry, right? So I needed this food, right? And I did takeout because I was just going to this spot just right around the block, or whatever the case you want to call it. That man decided to charge me the 15% that it will be for like tips. Yeah, I'm gonna add it on there. I took the food because I needed it, but you damn sure know I never went back there again.
Well, you see what I'm saying? So is it worth it in the end?
No, it's not worth it. It's actual bad business. You wouldn't want to do that.
Business.
Why would you alienate your fan base, basically?
Exactly. And now you got DLCA telling people, making them aware that what you've been doing has been illegal. So people are waking up to like, wait, all this time I go into this place, someone charging me something they weren't supposed to? Okay. And is it worth charging an illegal fee? You know, the fact that people are debating something that's illegal, to me, is crazy. You're a business owner debating why you charge this. You're doing this online. Anyway, Siobhan says, let's be for real low. Fines in the VI code are low. Them being caught once every other year is applied, they will keep doing it. That's unfortunate because ultimately they're going to lose. They need those customers to stay in business.
Mm-hmm.
I reported an issue with a business to the DLC and included the VI code section and address of the business. Followed up several times. It took 3 years for the DLC to find them. By then, they saved way more in non-compliance. Damn. So is that
this is what we talk? This is what we're talking about. How are we going to have a thriving society where we don't hold people accountable? And even just like an example like this, imagine how much times this has happened.
Exactly, because this is an example. How many other times has it occurred? All right, on to more trending news. This my part, and I take it easy to I take it easy to comments, man, because I understood what he meant, and I want to know what you think about this, Darren. This Omari, aka Footsie, this ain't easy because y'all love to get y'all pants
for this one, my son.
But the same love we showing dope like Blaze, why don't we show that same love to our local content creators like that? What do you guys say about that?
Whew. You see, I have to switch glasses for this one, right? I'm making up for the void.
The Malcolm X glasses. Let me
hear. So, let me say this, right? First and foremost, I love what dope. Is Dope by Blaze is doing.
You don't even know his name. You liar. You're a damn liar.
I just don't want to say it wrong. You know what I'm saying? So, I love what he's doing, right?
Okay.
He's doing something that, you know, from an outsider's perspective, I see it, right? He's showing a lot of love, right? And I agree with it, and I like it, right? I was gonna say I'm gonna agree with Omari's perspective because I think I could be a little facetious by saying this, but I think me and you have dealt with what it means to be a local content provider, right? Because at first, I'll just keep it real. At first, they love you until they start to dislike you, and then they start to hate on you, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, one thing I always say is like, if you're in the Virgin Islands, you have to have tough skin. It gotta be rhino tough, right? So I would say to that, right? I really wish that we did show local content providers a lot of love and sustain it, right? Don't be the person that starts off in the beginning and then you're like, well, you're not as good. And I think the other part to it as well is we always look at somebody from away as being better. You know how there's always this comparison. Oh, if I was in the States, this wouldn't happen, right? Even though there's some validity to it, but sometimes it may not be true. We always look at some place other than our own as being better, right? And I think part of it is that we talked about when we have a crumbling infrastructure, we have all these issues that is really insane if you really think about it, right? Because it doesn't exist, or at least not to the degree it exists here. I think we develop that mentality that anything that comes from away is better than what we have. And I think we have to get out of that mentality. We're just as creative, if not more. Even just, we could talk about the talent pool. Per capita, our talent in terms of acting, in terms of sports, like per capita, we are one of the most talented places. Right. We shouldn't devalue ourselves for other people. And I agree, there's space to embrace others, like Dope like Blaze, but also for our local content providers who are actually on the ground, who actually spend their time, their resources on a regular basis. Please show them love. Right. Because a lot of times we doing it from our own pockets. And it ain't like we got like this funnel of money.
None of that.
Yeah, we doing it from the love because we just wanted something to provide to our people, and sometimes they're not too kind to us. So I definitely feel where he's coming from.
Shout out creators like Shamel Morton. Shout out creators like in the film industry, the Sand series by Team Factonize. That should have been government sponsored, in my opinion. That should have been on the map already. They should not still be asking for donations, in my opinion, for something that is very, very St. Croix, very Crucian, very like that. That could have been a whole soap opera at least playing on the TV by now, but no. And yes, as a content creator myself, I feel very underrated, and I feel like we do a lot of stuff on a bigger scale, but don't get the love from home at all. Some of the stuff that I put, I'd be like, "Damn, that's fire!" 2 likes. But then somebody that's already popping elsewhere, y'all will be all through this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And for somebody that you don't know, and that'll be crazy. I'm sure if you ask people like Pumpa, like Peanut, the real nut, they get all of their love or majority of their love, not necessarily not from the people. They do from the people here, but not on the scale of when they leave. Peanut got a song called West Girl. West Girl is very Virgin Islands, very St. Croix, very West Side. That song bumping in all these other Caribbean, but you can't catch that man on the road for our parade. Why is that?
Whew, man.
So what I want to do, I want to read this one more time, because even after him making it explicitly clear he's not trying to hate on Dope Like Blaze, he said something that, and then I still saw somebody post, instead of hating on Dope Like Blaze, the man said, "This ain't me hating because y'all love to get y'all panties in a bundle, but the same love we showing Dope Like Blaze, why don't we show that same love to our local content creators like that?" He's not saying don't show them no love in them.
He's saying the same.
The love around, the same love, show it to your people that you know, that you could see, that doing it for you in your face.
You know what it is, I think, too? I think, I just say this a lot because I don't get it. We don't really overuse the word hating, right?
Bad.
Because, like, we see hating as a difference of opinion, and we're supposed to like everything. Like, for example, right? Let's say I'd be critical when I think about sports, I'd be critical of LeBron James. Any form of little critique as a hater.
Yeah.
Not that, okay, I have a different perspective. Is that you're supposed to automatically like something just because everybody does. And
I don't like Hunter, and I'm not hating. I'll go.
Yeah. Yeah, so so hating is definitely overused, and I think it's like basically you try to is an escape from using critical thinking in a sense, right? So, like, I'm gonna put myself on a little bit of a blaze, right?
Okay.
I have been very well known to say that I'm not a fan of Michael Jackson, right?
Oof.
And I'll get the worst comments. I'll say I don't know music, this and that, but it doesn't vibe to me. I'm just saying, like, it's not my jam. Everybody in the world ain't supposed to be a Michael Jackson fan, right? It's literally impossible. And just because I say it ain't coming from a place of like hate, it's just I don't. And I'll say this is like more like the pop records. If it's like the Army MJ, that I'll listen to it. I just don't really care for pop, and I don't really put any value on like dance routines and anything like that because that's what he was famous for too. So if I don't put value in those things, he's not going to matter to me as much as that. But it doesn't make him less of an artist or he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, right? It's just not my jam. And it's okay.
Siobhan says saying the man flops is not hating. It's still a late show for life.
Yeah, Lakers in 5 going home, but we're going to go there right now. Whoa. Siobhan, you ain't going to do this, right?
You might be too young for Michael to really taste it.
Because I remember, like, I was there, like, I was a kid when, you remember when he did that big motorcade on St. Croix drove? I remember I was there.
I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about how his videos used to be movies for real. I'm talking.
No, I agree. Like I said, I could have appreciation for it.
Okay.
It's just not my jam.
That's okay. That's fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all.
I ain't gonna lie. I don't like how she will try to throw me.
It's just a terrible take, though.
I know.
You have some of the worst takes in social media history. Your takes will be terrible. Being gonna lie to you, Michael. Like,
You know what? But honestly, like, hear me out.
okay.
I like to. I'm gonna give you credit, right? What's the number one thing you've always said about me?
You don't listen?
No, not that one.
Just tell me before I start going on a list.
And I'm giving you props. You were the first person to call me a contrarian.
Yes, correct.
And I used to be like, yo, man, I don't like that because like I feel like it's on purpose, but literally I take it as a badge of honor because I don't like group thinking, right? I don't like to just go with the flow because everybody, like, I want to have my own individual thing, right? And like for me, like, critical thinking is a big thing for me. I just don't accept something just because it was said, just because it's popular. Like, I'm going to have my own viewpoint, right? And I think for me, like, group thinking and all of that kind of thing is what creates, for example, like a person like Trump or all these connections, right? Because I just feel like we have to push past just because somebody else is doing something or somebody else doing, like, yo, have your own viewpoint. It's okay to stand on your own. It's okay to say you don't like this because this and this, and you don't want to go, some people feel like they don't want to go against the grain, so they have to jump on this bandwagon. It's okay to stand on your own 2 feet. And that's something I've always like fancy myself to be. Like, I don't personally care that my take is different. I'm not saying I do it on purpose, but I'm not just going to accept something because it was, just given. Like, I ain't gonna go through controversy, but let's just say that's part of the reason why I'm not currently a religious person, because I'm not accepting certain things that's given. Because if the math isn't mathing, I'm not just going to accept it. I'm going to challenge it. So I'll take the contrary. I am now taking on the contrary, the cape.
Cool.
You was the first person to point it on, and I rocking with it.
So no, I think, what's funny? You called me a contrarian first, and I was like, if anybody's one, it's you. Like, I against things because it doesn't make sense to me. Like, that's strictly why I don't like all that. I agree with you 100% on groupthink. I'm totally against it. I like to look at it, from multiple perspectives and stuff like that. So I'm not a contrarian. I just assess things on a wider range, I think. But so here's what a contrarian is.
Let me see that.
Or rejects popular opinion, especially in stock exchange dealing, right? So that describes you. Me, it's not that I disagree because a lot of people are. It's just, if it don't make sense to me, I'm not going along with it. If it sounds stupid to me, I can tell you it sounds dumb. Like, that don't make no sense. And I have done that, and I have lost friends because of it, because they come to me with something, I'm like, that don't make no sense. Just like this topic about the convenience fee thing. Y'all really stayed in this convenience fee thing, and you telling me it gonna save me money by charging me a fee. It gonna save me money in the long run. I must be an idiot. How that sound? That sounds,
what? I don't get example, right? I think you agree with me with this one. Who was the first person to talk about Kanye when he was making the downturn? When he started tripping, it was me. Like, I took a lot of heat. I remember I was saying things like, yo, this man tripping, whatever the case is. I remember I was saying like stuff like he's not a true billionaire, which I was actually proven to be right, because there's one see a lot of people don't realize, right? You could be valued to be a billionaire, but look what happened with Kanye. When they pulled the DS deal, he went from a billionaire to a millionaire because it wasn't there. So I was just saying that sometimes
there's no such thing as a true billionaire. Not like these men don't have money. These men don't have cash. They'll be cash poor. Like Tesla and all of that. There, like Elon Musk is as wealthy as he is, but he's cash poor because all his money is tied in assets. He doesn't physically have this money. So I agree with you. But go ahead.
So just a further point, I think people wasn't understanding. I wasn't saying that he didn't have like the assets and stuff. The problem is he was valued to be a billionaire, as in it could go up or down. It wasn't attached to anything. Like, It was just based on his perceived value
See what I'm
and
talking
what they were
about?
projecting to be.
I literally just said that, and he disagreed with me. I literally just said that.
No, I just want to make it further. Like
That's where the value comes from. They assessed his assets and said that this is how much he worth. He doesn't just have it in the bank in cash.
But I also was trying to make the point, not just that they don't have it in cash, but you could have that's what's considered fluid assets, right? You could have fixed assets, which could be tied into, like, I was just making sure the point is like you could have it tied into something that over time it will be this that. So I think people were just taking like, oh, I trying to say he don't have that in cash. That's not what I was saying. It was just saying his value, his perceived value, is something that could be taken away, which actually happened. So that's why I was on the first, and I was called a hater of all versions, right? And I think over time, I think I was proven to be right.
Well, I've never been on the Kanye train. I've never thought he was a genius. I've never liked his.
Oh, I never thought he was a genius either.
Like the albums, I piecemealed his songs and I liked his songs. But then when he like all this genius talk and all of that, no, you're dumb. You think like Kanye and Trump's, they're geniuses to dumb people. They're smart to idiots.
You know what I will say?
Yeah,
you know who's a really good example of that? Elon. Like they lot. Remember up to this when he became part of like Doge and the Trump administration, that genius term was floated around. I personally think he's a person that has money because he came into money.
He was born rich.
Exactly. I'm gonna use this not in a condescending term, but I want to just use it. I always thought he was an idiot. He took a lot of risks.
Elon Musk talk. It takes the man 15 minutes to say, "Hey, how you doing?" He's a numbskull. The man is not no genius.
Exactly.
If you listen to him talk and him stumble through a paragraph, you're gonna look at that man and tell me he's a genius? I hate hearing that man talk. I thought Trump was bad. My God. And you know what? America has the lamest set of billionaires in the world. We got lame Mark Zuckerberg. We got Bezos, who's sending woman up in spaceship shaped like penises. We got Elon Musk, who stumbles through everything he says. We got Donald Trump, whose biggest word to use is big. Like, we have the lamest billionaires in the world. And they got thousandaires defending them to the ground. That's why I don't argue with them about what a genius is.
You know what I think? You know what I think it is? Like, I don't feel like that's the pinnacle of red pill. When I really think about it, they get to when you think about it, that's the pinnacle of red pill. Be rich, you could do whatever you want, and that's what I said. Like, I think, like, I don't know. I think you agree with me this one. I think it was a couple years ago. They were going on my case, right? Remember I said the time that billionaires were really bad for the world, and I got called pocket watcher, hate, and all that stuff. And lo and behold, look what the billionaires are doing. They're ruining the place. Like just because you became a billionaire, sometimes billionaires are not exactly like they. You know, people really thought Elon was the one that was inventing all this stuff. They really thought that was the case. Yeah. Like, no, sometimes you're chosen to be a billionaire, or you had the passion to push this idea and all these things, and it took place over time, and then the timing was right. Like, just because you became a billionaire doesn't mean automatically that you know something that everybody else don't. Sometimes you made the right sacrifice, the right choice at the right time, and people bought into it. Or you had the money to begin with.
Oh yeah, you were birthed into it. Like, you were set on a path before you were even born. Like, I mean, come on. Siobhan says U.S. billionaires are bad for. I don't think Russian billionaires are good for the world either.
I think billionaires, period, are bad for the, because you gotta think about it, right? Billionaires, just in economic terms, are literally hoarders. You know, like, you have that hoarder that brings in everything, and that's literally what they do. They hoard resources, right? Here's the problem, right? There's always an imbalance to hoarding. If one person have this amount of resources. What happens to the other million or whatever the case is? There's no such thing as an unlimited resource. So if somebody hoards this resource, that means a group of people are not going to have the same access.
Yeah.
That's why billionaires are bad for the world. And then on top of that, they hoard the resources. It's not that they're spending the money. As we can see, some of the billionaires are the cheapest people in the world. They hoard the resources. They don't pay their people who actually help them to become a billionaire anything tangible. Well, some do, but most don't. And then on top of that, they exercise their power with their resources. That's why we have the issue we have with Trump and Doge. They exercise their ability to influence again to politics and everything to drive policy. And they're not doing it for the betterment. They're doing it to save money and to get more money than they already have. Like they just hoarding it. They literally have more money than they could ever need in this lifetime and at least 3 generations back. But they continue to hoard it, try to take away from the regular folks to save money, and then to make even more money to hoard it again. It's a bad mix. But I think he went to mute.
Honestly, I can't see anyone making it to being a billionaire and being morally just. You know what I'm saying? Like along the line, you did some things that you wouldn't tell anyone. You know what I mean? Like I just can't see it. I don't see how. But again, I'm a thousandaire, so I don't know.
I'm a thousandaire too.
I wouldn't know. All right, one more trending topic for you, Daren. I gotta hit you with this one.
Whoo-wee. Let me take off my glasses for this one.
Over in Jonesboro. Why did I have to find out through social media? My daughter had a reward ceremony. Oh, my boyfriend went because I had to work, so she was good. He wanted to see her get the reward. He says, that's my damn child. How the F you allow another man to show up for my child and I'm active in her life, then you didn't tell me my daughter had a ceremony. Okay, my boyfriend is just as much of her father as you are. He's active in her life as well. You always go to her events. I didn't want to take away from him being able to see her get a reward. I don't give a F about any of that. You could have told me and we both could have showed up for her. She says, I wanted him to have his own moment with her. She would have given you more attention if you showed up to the ceremony. All right. So what do you think about this chat? All right, chat. Talk to me. What I think about that scenario. So, father is an active father in his daughter's life. However, he does not necessarily know that there was a reward ceremony going on. The mother sent the boyfriend and felt like if the baby daddy number 2 had showed up for the daughter, he would have stole all the shine. What y'all think about this? Talk to me.
The man. Listen, this is so messed up on so many levels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the man. I don't know if you know. I search for a lot of words, right? Because
I'll go. So check.
Yeah, go for a second because this is wild.
When I first read this, it really pissed me off. It literally got me upset. I don't know if somebody just created this and it's not even real, but it upset me because one, in my mind, she was being spiteful. She knew if she told him, he would have actually showed up, which that's usually the other way around. You be hearing women complain about their terrible baby daddies all the time, and if I tell him he ain't gonna show up anyway, that wasn't the case here. She literally did not want him to go. Mm-hmm. So instead of her child having both of the men in her life show up for her reward ceremony, the mom said, I only want my boyfriend to go, which is crazy. And this is a terrible show of like co-parenting. If you get somebody working with you, work with them. However, when I posted this on the page, there were some mixed things. Obviously, people ain't gonna never agree, right? But what got me is the people saying that he can't be an active father because they get things like class dojo and stuff like that, he should have known about the reward ceremony. He shouldn't have had to ask. That is not true. I assure you. When I seen that, I was like, I ain't seen class dojo in my daughter's stuff for years. That's not a thing no more. And a reward ceremony is not usually something that's posted in the calendar. That could just be for her class. You get what I'm saying? Like, why y'all making up this thing and finding a way for the father to be wrong? She knew, the fact that she knew he would go and she chose not to tell him, it's on her. But
you know what's one of the thoughts I had when I read this?
Uh-huh.
I agree, Siobhan. I agree.
Court for
you know
what?
What?
To do what? Tell us in the chat. What could he use this for, though?
So one of the things I thought about, like it feels like there was a conversation, of course, not in this here, right? I feel like either the new boyfriend has a problem with baby daddy, and he been saying stuff, so he wanted to like do things and show up for the daughter, or the baby mother might be saying something like, hey, you know, I don't like this dude, blah 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 blah, whatever the reason, you're my guy now, whatever the case is. But dude, this pissed me off, right? And not to say I'm a father, I'm not a father, I don't actually have kids, right? But dude, that's not cool at all. Like I think I would have crashed out a little bit, because like that's my daughter, man. Like I want to be there for my daughter. Like this guy, she is there, he's active, right? He wants to be there. Why would you take that away? Like, growing up, I didn't have an active father, right? I did have a stepfather, right? And he didn't show up to things, right? But if my father was active and like I found out about this, I would think about my mother differently. Like, why can't you guys co-parent? Take the ego out of things, take out personal feelings. It's supposed to be about the children.
Exactly.
And the fact that you use personal feelings for whatever reasons, or I think the boyfriend might be interfering in stuff, because why would you send him? And even as a boyfriend, because I date single mothers and stuff, like I wouldn't want to take the place of the father if he's active. Like we supposed to be a team. I will go meet him over there. Like I actually would not feel comfortable trying to like take the father's place. I can't take the father's place. I could be present. I have a role as a stepfather, but to replace the father, that's what that's veering towards. And ethically, that's definitely wrong. And in so many different levels, that's really not cool in any shape or form.
So you mentioned dating single mothers. You hit the nail on the head with why I got upset, is because when you're co-parenting, you want things to go smoothly, right? Mm-hmm. At the crux of all of it, it should be about what's best for the child or children. She didn't do what was best for the child, and that's why I feel wrong. Instead of her having the two men in her life there for her reward ceremony, the mother took it upon herself to say, no, I only want the one, which is not what's best for the child. So that's why I say, regardless of what, whether he could have gone on Class Dojo or whatever app, she made a decision to do this, knowing what would happen. This was a plan. This was a scheme. Now, you mentioned dating single mothers, right? I see online a lot of people talk about how, you shouldn't date single mothers and this, that, and the third, start a family of your own. You don't have any children. You date single mothers. What do you say to that? What do you think about that?
To be honest with you, if I had dated a single mother and this took place, I would actually think to reevaluate if I want to be in this relationship, right? Hear me out. I'm going to take it from a different perspective.
Okay.
Like you said, the children are the priority. What exactly are you teaching that child to do? You're basically doing low vibrational behavior and making it okay for that child. whatever age that is, right? Kids are impressionable. They pick up on anything that you do, even if you don't even think that takes place, right? So imagine you doing all these low vibrational behaviors. What you're doing is essentially telling the child, this is okay to do. This is what's right to do. How many times, and I'm not throwing, anybody or sort of the bus, but how many times we had to unpack things that we learned from our parents, well, that wasn't the healthiest thing. Why would you do something like this? You're literally, in effect, because I don't want to overuse this term, but I think it's applicable, right? You're basically imposing trauma on your children, right? So you're creating an environment, you imposing these traumas and these dramas and everything else. You're gonna normalize it in a child. So when that child becomes an adult, they're also gonna enact the same behavior. And you just create a cycle, which in a sense, if you want to use this term, you're creating a generational curse, right? And honestly, you have to, as a parent, and like I said, I can't speak from that side, but I'm going to speak from perspective. I think as a parent, you have to take your ego and stuff out of it, right? That's your child. You raising something, right? And for you to do something like this, so I want to use the word vile. What are you teaching? We never saw the gender of the child. So I want to say, what are you teaching your daughter? What are you teaching your son? What are we teaching our kids? Like we creating more broken adults with all these things because you can't get out of your emotions. You can't get out of your feelings. You can't get out your ego. Like we're poisoning our and
right.
It's just wrong. It's just wrong.
I see this really bothering you for real, man.
No, like yo, like it's crazy, man. Like, and you know what's the worst part is? I'm not gonna use this as a woman thing, right? Because I think we both do it. But the fact that you said there are people, I'm gonna say people, that are arguing for the mother's perspective says a lot about accountability in our community.
What do you mean?
The fact that they're defending the mother on this action says a lot about accountability, because we want to champion certain things, but when you champion the wrong behaviors, all you do is creating a system of lack of accountability. Yo, that wasn't cool. That was not good. Like, we need to call out things. That's not right.
Can we be honest here? There will always be bad actors. There will always be people that will enable bad actors. Can we just agree that there? My thing with our community, right, is that we allow that. We allow enabling of things that are clearly wrong and clap for bad actors. That bothers.
That's the problem. Yes, I agree with that. That was the trend I was going to. Like, I think one of the biggest problems that we have is the lack of accountability, right? And unfortunately, we didn't have the best examples from our leaders and stuff, and it just trickles down. But we have to start calling out things that are wrong. Until we start doing that, and I just talk about in a bigger scheme. This is on a macro perspective than just this specific thing, right? Until we call out bad behavior, it's just going to fester and it's going to exponentially multiply. Because think about it, if somebody else that's kind of doing something like this and they see somebody supporting them, why would I do something else different?
Yeah, for sure. And that's again one of the issues. Bring back shame for real. I need to do a t-shirt like that. Now, as far as the topic of dating single mothers, right? Because another thing I posted, and that started a whole nother thing again. I gonna say this to the man them, to the brethren. I need to speak to you. Come close. Not too close. I like my own. But listen, there's certain things. If you're gonna date a single mother, right? You have to either acknowledge that if this thing goes past a certain point, like, I gonna be there for the child, I gonna play that role, like, a step into at least a mentorship position, or you need to acknowledge that when it getting too far in, or matter of fact, before that, you need to let them know up front what the situation is, so you don't waste nobody's time, because there's a child involved. She might be ready to introduce you to the child while you thinking y'all just a sex thing. Them thing need to stop. Don't waste nobody time with that thing. If you know that you just want to smash that thing good, cool. There's nothing wrong with dating for consensual sex. My problem to come in with, they should have known. Like I posted something, partner been dealing with this woman for 8 months, and then he tells her after 8 months that I never expected to be playing daddy to this little, you know what I'm saying? I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of part of the package. When I know we don't like hearing we're a package deal, but they literally are. This little person came out of her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you thinking, bruh? If you don't want no child, why would you deal with a mother with a child? There's plenty of women without them. Go start. There's nothing wrong with being a woman that doesn't want a dude with other children. There's nothing wrong with being a dude that doesn't want a woman with other children. That's fine. But why would you commingle them thinking you won't get what the other one already is dealing? That don't make no sense.
It don't. Listen, I know. What thing is, I think I come from a place of empathy, right? Because once upon a time, I was a product of a single mother, right? So for to see it in live display of a stepfather, stepping into that role and stuff, right? I've seen the kind of impact that has on children, right? So I will want to do the same thing, right? We as a I have some kind of relevance because I've experienced what you experienced, right? So I think it really comes down to dating in reality, right? You dating, like you said, you dating a single mother, they are a package. Just be upfront. Like a lot of people, and I'm gonna say specifically men in this situation, are not upfront about their expectations, right? And they're afraid, they're chicken to say what they really want, right? Yo, they have women, all they want is a good time. That's fine. Be upfront with it. And she says no, come from a place of abundance. That if she says no, somebody else will say yes. But they're afraid to do that. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
You do not have to get every single woman, dog. Like, damn. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to, like, it's okay if a woman ain't gonna want you like that. You don't have to have that one. Especially in the Virgin Islands. I don't tell her, yo, the ratio is 81 men to every 100 women, man. Why you have to have all of them?
You know what it is, I think? We talked about it in this episode that we filmed today, and I'll love for it to come out, right? We talked about that, right? I think there's this like unhealthy viewpoint of like manhood, right? Like we feel like we have to have as much woman as possible. That means we have some kind of intrinsic value. Like, yo, that's not necessarily the case, my boy. Like you could have a healthy relationship and that's all that's needed. You don't need, I'm not saying if that's your case, if you want to have multiple women and, poly relationships or whatever that looks like can work for you if you be upfront with it, right? But they have this viewpoint that if I could get as much women as I can, that means I'm more valuable as a man. No, you're not, my boy. Like you stand on your business makes you a man. You being a father to your kids, hopefully with the same woman that you impregnated, makes you a man and sticking it out. Like I think there's so many unhealthy patterns that we talk about just now. We celebrate and we defend that we don't realize how bad it is for our society. Like it's really bad for our society that men aren't, how to put it this way, aren't operating in healthy ways. They're not with their families that they created, right? We just talked about an example a while ago. Mothers have to work multiple jobs to just keep things afloat.
Hold on, because you gave us the perfect segue into that video that you wanted to talk about. So let me start.
Yes, go ahead.
All right, but let me read these comments real quick. Yoshi says, that's why as a single mom, you don't bring everyone you mess with around your children, especially if it's just sex. I don't know why you want it. Like, you want a man, you want a nut, or you want a babysitter? What we doing? If you just... Come on.
I'll give you a quick example. I remember at the time I started talking to this, this lady, right? And she told me, yeah, come over to the house, whatever the case is. I remember as I opened to the door, I see a toddler running towards me, trying to give me a hug. And that was the most awkward thing ever. Again, I didn't know we were just talking. I knew she had kids, I didn't expect to see Kid
Yeah.
at the first meetup. Like, you know, like I felt weird about it. And again, like I said, I came from a product of like having a stepfather and stuff. So it's a different kind of experience, like for somebody to embrace you that's not your father, like to see that on the first day, that kind of like that gave me a weird feeling, man.
You shouldn't even be there, not for the first day. Now I gonna ask I in the chat while we get into this other topic though. In the chat, real quick, tell us how long should you be dealing with a person before you introduce them to your child? Because I saw some people saying that 8 months is too soon. It shouldn't be no less than 18 months. What do you think? What people don't understand is that's a personal value. We need to understand that these time frames that y'all be setting, it depends on you. You shouldn't be telling everyone like this is the standard, because we haven't agreed on it. But for you, what is the appropriate amount of time to introduce somebody that you're dating to your child? And Siobhan says, ain't no way I'm living with a man with my child without having this conversation. What the F are we doing here? Depends on the situation. Tell us what it depends on. Tell us in the comments. All right. And in the meantime, so we were talking about, you know, all man don't need to have a ton of women. Like, you don't need a bunch of women to be a man. However, our community, I need to understand, society has taught us that you're good things. You're a pimp, you're a player, you know what I'm saying? You're these good things. On the reverse, if you're a woman and you're doing that, you're at 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just where we are. Let's admit that. But
Yeah.
here's this video. I think it segues perfectly into this. This is one of my favorite guys on the internet right now. But y'all check this out.
Why does a man feel like he has to sleep with a lot of women to feel like a man?
It's promoted. I mean, I remember when I lost my virginity, I was with my cousin. We were driving to the store. He says, hey, I'm going to stop by my girlfriend's house. And I believe I was, 16 at the time. We go in the house and she has a little sister who was very cute. So he goes in the room and he's having sex, and me and her little sister are talking. When they come out, we get in the car. My cousin's driving. He says, hey, did you have sex with her? I'm like, no. He says, did you kiss her? I'm like, no, I just met her. He was like, you a virgin? I'm like, I haven't had sex before. When we pull up into his house where all my uncles were, my cousins and my mother, he yelled out, hey, Jason's a virgin. The entire house erupted in laughter. So when I looked around at my mother, she was laughing. It made me angry, because here it is. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I thought this was the way. I didn't know I had to just have sex with a woman that I don't care about for me to be validated as a man. But that's the culture. That's like the initiation into manhood. As soon as I got back to Detroit, I called a friend who knew a girl who liked me, and I went over the house because I knew I could have sex with her real quick and I can get this stigma up off of me. I didn't even care about her. I had no emotions. I did it because this was what I was taught as a man. You're not a man if you're faithful to one woman, and you're not a man if you're a virgin. So that day I lost my virginity, my mindset shifted. All you can be is strong, provide, or be promiscuous. And this is your identity. We hide behind the suits, the cigars, the cars, the jewelry, the watches. Inside that home, there's a man depressed, on the edge, and possibly suicidal.
I want to touch on something, right, that I think is very important. Ladies, did you hear who he said was laughing?
Mm-hmm.
His mother was in there laughing. He see all them other people enough, but you see who he said last? My mother is in there laughing because her son is still a virgin. And I don't think that women really be thinking you might be helping to perpetuate in your child the stuff that you hate. You might very well be one of the reasons why your son is out here thinking he gotta have 12 women in him. All right. Let me read these comments before you go real quick. All right. Yoshi says, You just want a nut. So if you're coming through as a single mom, you ain't gonna bring anybody, especially if you just sex. She just want a nut. Just get in and go. Don't say hi to Junior. Come on, get in the room and leave. Ain't no way I'm living with a man, with my child, without having this conversation. What the F are we doing here? Yoshi, period. As far as how soon is too soon to have your person come check out your children, Yoshi says it depends on the situation. Jerica says anytime after the talk of moving forward into something more happens. You hear that? You ain't having a lot of conversations that are necessary, you know. Those what are we conversations that men hate, they're actually necessary. Those conversations about what are your expectations, they're necessary. He can have Yoshi, and Christina, he just got to tell me what his move is. Devon says that's a sad story. Bongo says facts. Damn, that's sad. His mom is the one that he zoomed in on. Like, damn, even my mother laughing at me being a virgin. And then guess who probably taking him to church to tell him that
the same mother.
Oh, man, moms. But go ahead. What you guys say about that, man?
So you know what? The reason why I like this video, right? I think a lot of VI men could identify with that, right?
Thanks.
Now, in my situation, it wasn't my mother or like a group of people, but yeah, man, like I had a cousin, man, like clown me, my son, clown me. Like, yo, this. I mean, the man was gifted in terms of how he could relate to ladies and stuff. The man does his thing, right? But it was just like, man, you know, it wasn't like the wait your time where we're like, man, you gotta do this thing, right? And it's like a forceful thing, right? And we don't even realize how that desensitized men, really and truly, when you think about it. Like, yo, you don't gotta really care about her, just have sex with her, right? And I feel like it creates such a stigma. And then also think about the mentality that happens, right? All right, he gotta do this way to break his virginity, which is supposed to be a sacred thing, right? Think about what it does to a person over time. You continue to desensitize him. He does it. All you think about getting the next one. Yo, he getting his girl pregnant, and then he ain't really taking care of it because he was desensitized from the jump. Now, I'm not excusing him from not taking care of your responsibility because you should, but we gotta really think about it. Like, you know how much time, I know you could relate. You know how much time, like, yo, you gotta get, like, you're around 15, 16. Like, you talk with your boys about girls in school and stuff, like, yo, you know, you should do this and all that kind of stuff, right? And it's just we have to break it because we need to realize that it's unhealthy, my boy. Like we like girls ain't like Pokemon. You don't catch them all of them. Like find one that you really care about, and it's okay. I'll use the word just for the thing, but it's okay to settle with somebody, right? Like having a one woman that cares about you is a game changer. Like I still searching for that, right? I still searching for that one. Because, you know, like the statistics is there. Like when men are married and in healthy relationships, they literally live longer. They're literally healthier people. They're literally better and not as depressed. Like we have to not see the value of a woman as just sex. Like women in our lives provide so much more. The balance of life comes when masculinity and femininity comes together in a healthy way. We need both of it. We need each other in this life, and we can't just keep seeing each other as we see women as prize for sex. In some cases with women, they see us as to a means to an end in terms of being cared for and provided for. We are more than just that, and we need to start expanding that. We need to get aware of all these old habits and just realize it's not good for us. We need to do better.
Thanks. Jerica says, man, I need to start taking my own damn advice and follow the good head my granny claim say is on my shoulders. And guaranteed that same family would be heated if he was a girl and had her virginity taken. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Just like how T.I. wanted to go in to the hospital room with his daughter to check to see if she had her virginity taken, but he was at the same time wanting King and the rest of them man to go ahead and have sex early though. You check what I'm saying?
And to buffer your point, look how King turned out.
Exactly. Trap. But Yoshi says you can cook, clean, work, and helicopter on the D. Some men just can't be with one woman. But we gonna get into that. You can't put concealer makeup on your soul. Right?
Boom. That's a bar. That's a bar right there.
You can't put concealer makeup on your soul. Now, Yoshi, let me tell you how deeply ingrained this thing is. Keep in mind how high the numbers are for single mothers in our community, right? So, if there aren't a lot of Black male mentors and father figures in our community, where would a man get his information from? Most likely TV, now social media, and his peers, right? Mm-hmm. So I ain't gonna even talk about sex as far as how we see women. I'm gonna take it back to when I was going to school. I wasn't having sex. Some of my friends were. They were postman. You know what I'm saying? I was a nerd at the time, junior high school. Them man already getting it in. They don't had several girlfriends. I ain't had none for real. You go to a jam, right? They would literally jam up on girls and write down how many they had, and then we compete over how many. And if you get blank, you getting teased. So that
for days, for weeks.
We're just talking about a dance. And I don't know if y'all seen The Wood, but that happened in that movie, The Wood too. Like you keeping score of how many women you jam and had a dance with and stuff like that. Thing. And partner, that was a virgin too. So them pictures will be real life. So even then, it's so deeply ingrained that you need to have more than one, or else you lame. It's been going on for a long time. Facts. I remember them days. You see how you remember them days? You used to roll with the boys, man.
I mean too.
Yeah, I don't even doubt she used to be with the boys too. Yeah, but back in the Central High in the gym and stuff, it's dark. You try and see if you get a jam on it, and them are watching to see when you
watching.
The thing. If you get blank, you getting teased all day. Use that
relentlessly. Fighting on grind days, man.
Come on, no.
Listen, you get blank. That's like, if you get blank, that's the worst day ever, you know. And it ain't like a day where you can like suck it up outside. They will do it for months, years. That might remind you. You could be out of high school 10 years ago. They don't remind you. Hey, remember that time we went to high school? You got blank? Yeah. Relentless.
That's real. That's pressure. Now, as you get older, you realize that what am I saying really don't matter. But that's already in your head, man. That's already how you operating for real. Like when you out with a man, you got show them that you could get a most woman, and it actually is in those groups, in those group of males, you're already trying to see who's the leader. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how those I'm an alpha man mentality. So when you think about like toxic masculinity, it started from there, though. We didn't register as that, but look at what we were doing, and it was just all fun and games, right? So please talk to your children, man.
And think about it, like you said it, and I think I said it in the episode, right? While we recorded. I think part of the problem is. And I said it's a comparison, and this is not me throwing no shit or anything. This is just to show a difference. When girls are growing up, they have their mothers as an example, they have their grandmothers, they have their like aunties and so they are guided into what womanhood's supposed to be over a period of time. A lot of cases for us, we don't have that guidance. The father ain't there, uncle doing anything. Grandfather may or may not be there because he passed away because he didn't take care of his health, or he out there got a whole nother family, right? So your only example really and truly for a lot of us is the street man them, your partner them, that in the same circumstances as you. And like you said, is toxic stuff, toxic masculinity being taught from the jump, right? So imagine we don't have that framework. I'm not saying it is everybody cases, right? But for a good bit of us, we don't have that framework. So if this is all that you know, how healthy are you going to be as a person? How healthy are you going to view your own masculinity? How healthy is it that you're going to view women and the value in their lives? So I think we got to really think about that. Oh, I can't hear you.
Men, we need to step up because responsibility really does ultimately fall on us. Like, we can't just use that as an excuse to continue operating that way, right? But these comments, what Yoshi says, I've been to a few, man. I guess she talking about Jam. Jerica said, look at us now, because she said she used to be home minding her business. Jerica to go on like she used to be, like she was a Jehovah's Witness, but me believer. She said, Yoshi, 1 or 2. I know, right? LOL. Who would have thought? It'll be the quiet one, them anyway. It'll be the quiet ones, the one that played sports, the one that was always on the basketball court, and everybody was the homie, and the ones that were in the library. And what we know. Y'all being there reading romance novels and getting a little.
Remember them Zane book from back in the days?
the Alpha 5. Anyway, I can't say that. Hey, we got one more trending clip.
Yeah.
And we gonna try and push through this one. We got one more trending clip, but all in all, I do gotta read Bongo Vibes comment. Men have several women because they're sometimes afraid to commit, or because when you do commit to one and give your all to it, you can carry or use. And that's
really one.
Because I gonna say this, and this gonna be controversial. I believe that men love wholeheartedly. When they love a woman, they love for real. Like a man, it don't matter if he's a street dude, it don't matter like when he really love a woman, right? He'll go all in and to provide and give whatever that woman wants. And when that heart gets broken, they love to say that we can't handle it, but in a sense, it's true. When a man gets his heart broken, I've seen a dude like go through a divorce and they'll go on like, we don't feel divorce. Like, a dude go through divorce and does everything in his power to not connect to a woman since. Ever since he lost his kids, he lost that divorce and all of that stuff, I had to suffer. This man does everything he can to not connect with another woman. He stays far away. He pays for it. And he ain't ashamed. I'd rather pay for it than get committed again because he's scared.
You know what? I even have another controversial take, right? Whether we want to believe it or not, I think all of us in some way. Go ahead.
Jerica says Zane was not my cup of tea, too uncouth. Were you a Daniel Steele girl? That's all I got to ask. Go ahead. Go ahead. See what you say.
Them colorful books too.
With Fabio.
So I was gonna say, right, this is a controversial take. And I think you may agree or disagree. But I think all of us, well, a good bit of us, at some point, are going to say either high school or in early adult life was taken advantage by a girl. And we carry that on our chest because it's like I don't think, like you said something, it hit, right? Like we love in a different way. I want to say a different way, right? So when we give our all and that happened to us, like we take betrayal to a different kind of level, right? That stuff to hurt, and some people don't even recover from that. Like you say, your partner, well, the person you're talking about, I won't say your partner, but some people don't ever recover. They don't ever recover from kind of heartbreak, man. So, and sometimes we've been used. Like it could be used to get to another man. We could be used for resources like money and stuff. But use is still used, and nobody wants to feel like they're being used. Right. So, like, you know how to have this conversation. Sorry for making it longer. Like when women talk about men have to have a certain kind of money and all this kind of stuff. You know what that reads to us? We are about to be used. Yeah. So men do not like the feeling of being used, especially for the resources and the money. That does not translate well for us. But continue.
I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say something to that there, right? Because I've been holding this in, right? ladies, I know I don't like listening to men, but please, I'd be dropping bars for reading them. And I don't listen to me because it's not what you want to hear. But please talk to your sister. Social media is the worst thing to happen to relationships in 2 decades. Listen to me. When, like men, right? Men listen to what women have to say and they watch them videos by your sister-in-law. When she making videos about how much she hate men, how much she's used men, how much she's cheated on men and all of those stuff, trust me, men are watching. Because I've noticed on TikTok, right? There used to be a trend of why men are always approaching me, why men are always dancing up on me when I'm with my friends and this, that, and the third. The new trend is now, why aren't men approaching? Why aren't men dancing, like coming up and dancing with us no more? Because we listen. It may take a while, but men will pay attention. The reason men pay attention for the most part is because women hold the access to sex. Men know that. So I have to understand how your mind works in order to get to sex. That's just bare bones what it is. I'm not discounting love, affection, and I want a life partner and all of that. I'm just saying at its bare bones, when a man sees you, he physically sees you, I want sex. Right? And men pay attention. So with how women are disclosing on these social media apps right now, men are becoming turned off. And then now I'm seeing women like, hey, I'm going to all these singles things and ain't no men here. I literally seen a video, the girl was like, where the dick at? There's no men outside. And it's like, it's because men are listening to you. It's the worst thing that has happened to relationships. And they just keep getting on these apps and they're telling them on themselves. Like the girl who got on there talking about, my husband works 64 hours a week. And I want for his only day off for him to go outside and he don't want to because he's tired. Am I being Yes. And you men are seeing that there and thinking, why should I get in a relationship? Why should I get married if that's the kind of a woman that I'm doomed to be with? But all right, that's all I got. Just all right. I just listen to men. That way, everything goes smooth. And you can always tell the girl who to be like rolling with men because she's more tuned into like how men think. It'll be the girls that don't know what the hell they talking about. Men get used for resources. Women tend to get used for their bodies. That's real though. It's unfortunate, but it's real. Treat him the way he should be treated. Women hold the key to sex. Men hold the key to marriage.
What relationships do? She's right.
I can rock with that. To relationships, but ultimately, what people want. What the woman say they want? They don't want a relationship. They want a marriage. They want a ring. Or else it's to the left, right? All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. We got one more video we're gonna play real quick, and then we're gonna let her go, man. I appreciate you again, Daren. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, man. I happy to be here, man.
Here we go.
I hated my healthy relationship. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Everything seemed extremely foreign to me. I even remember at the beginning of my relationship, I'm like, hey, there's a part of me inside that does not like you. And I said it with like a comical relief, but I was really serious. Like there was a part of me that did not like this person, did not like how he held me accountable. I did not like how he held a mirror to my face. I did not like how he created situations where I had to be at my full potential and I just was not ready to be my full potential at that moment.
It didn't take long at that point to get proven, did it?
Man, let me type, man. I know we ain't gonna type, but I could tell you so much types.
Listen,
where like you know what be the crazy part? Like you date them, whatever, in a relationship, and it ends, and then they come back to you and say, you know what? You actually was right. And it doesn't want to listen at all.
Jerk us. Daren says she should have healed herself before attaching to another human being. We all should do that, really.
But you know what was interesting? I know we ran out of time, right? A lot of times people don't know how unhealed they are until they come across somebody else. That'll be the crazy part.
There are literally people that think they should be healed by the other person they meet.
That's true. Oh man, boy, that's a burden. That's a serious burden.
Healing is your own thing. Your triggers, that's your own thing you should be dealing with. What the F is she on? Give me your man number right quick. That'll be the thing. They never dealt with these dudes now. That'll be the thing. When you hear a woman say, I love a man who, notice she ain't there with a man. She's never with that dude.
Oh, I gotta say this, right? Because this is important, right? You know how women are saying, like, I don't need a man, right? Okay. Like, yo, I don't think women realize this. You may agree or disagree with me. When you tell me you don't need me, that's like akin to tell me you don't like me. That's like you telling me, like, I could do this all by myself. I don't need you. Like men like to be needed. Yes, we like to be loved. We like sex. But tell me you need me. Oh man, you gonna have everything. I really believe, like, they don't understand that. I feel like that part is so important. Like, to some man to be told he's needed to her, man.
That's intimacy, right? That's intimacy on another level. So that's telling him that I need you to perform this thing, right? I need you to be this type of man for me, which we had this conversation. Me and Siobhan had this conversation offline, where it seems like women have gotten to a point where they've been independent so long, they're now uber independent. So they say things like, I don't need no man. But it's like, why are you dating then? Like, are we filling time or what's going on? Because like, that man needs a woman, so he's out there. If you don't need no man, what are you doing? Like, stay home with your rose and complete your business degree and do your thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But why do you feel the need to continuously tell me that? It's a turnoff. I want you to need me. I want you to want me.
Exactly.
I want you to show me that. But then now it's gotten to some point where, like, if you say things like that to a woman, you sassy. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You're that and the third. Oh, you want me to chase you? That ain't what I said, though.
Mm-hmm.
Jendai said, nah, buddy, I'm not taking on someone else's healing. You need to say next caller for real. Hey, Daren, you better get some of that lasagna. Exactly.
Know, right?
Why are you in the dating pool? That's why don't be understanding. Y'all be dating, right? And say you don't need this, you don't want this. Like, why? What are you doing then? Why are you even open to dating? When somebody try to get your number, tell her no. Oh, word, I need you to hit what? Hit my DMs? Is that what you're saying? Is that what Jendai saying? How you interpret this? I need you to hit my DM. All right. That's what's up. Hey, we making love connections on this show. But what do you think about that? Because that happens. Some people, like, they really have operated in unhealthy and toxic for so long, they don't know anything else. So anything healthy, like, I don't know how to operate in this space. So now, instead of looking internally, they're looking at you as like the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a real thing that we don't talk about. While everybody's saying they like healthy, or this person is toxic, or this person is narcissistic, do you know what to do if you get something healthy? If all the relationships you've been in has been toxic and has been with narcissists, when you find somebody who is really operating in with their best self, do you know what to do? Mm-hmm. Because there's a thing that it will require of you. So all the while you're making all these demands of, I want a man who does this, then the third, or you saying you want a woman that does this, then the third, when you get that, do you know the type of person you need to be for them? Because
Mm-hmm.
you haven't been asking those questions.
That's the real right there.
People like her make the dirt. Yeah, that's why they say you're pulling it. I know when the right man come along, I'll be ready and open to receive him. I want that for you, Yoshi. I hope that that's true. Continue working on yourself, getting everything that you need. You should have everything that you need. You're a wonderful person. Keep going. Exactly, Jad. They wouldn't know. They're gonna fool like I said. It's true because you've been looking at all these wants and needs for yourself, but not like what would that person require from me? Some people thrive on the toxicity. They're actually afraid. Correct. But then they'll tell you though that they want a healthy relationship. They'll tell you that. Let me rub your belly and I'll tell you how much. All right. On that note, hey, this has been another great episode of A Different Day with John. Thank you so much, Daren, aka Date Like Daren, for coming through. You check out Dialogue 340. You got new episodes coming shortly. You'll be on the lookout for that. Telling people how they could get in contact with you, what they need to watch out for, man.
So, like I said, Dialogue 340, we got a new episode coming soon. I am bringing back Date Like Daren. I gotta put some structure into it, but I think you guys gonna love what comes out of it. I like I said, one of the biggest things is I wanted to refocus back on dating, not so much what I got going on. So I work on that. So just know that's coming through. And man, just you can find me on Facebook, Daren Georges, and of course, I want to dive in more into the space about talking about more local stuff. So we're developing something. I can't talk about it just yet, but coming soon. But you got more stuff on the horizon.
That's what's up. How can they follow you?
I'm waiting to change the name back to Day Like Daren. So that is right now dating in the Virgin Islands. So you find that will be there. And then you can find me on my personal page, Daren Georges. And yeah, and then I'm on Instagram and I think TikTok, but I don't use it as much. And yeah, so that's where you can find me. I want you to comment that, Charles.
All right. Yo, as for Same Difference, every Sunday we have from 4 to 6 p.m. A Different Day with Ja and Neci. Neci, however, has been playing her role of Carmen Sandiego. So she's on the way to you right now, but she's traveling. So that's why I have my special co-host this week, Daren. Next week, we will not have an episode because of Mother's Day. We're going to be celebrating Mother's Day. But you can follow Same Difference at Same Difference 2022 on Instagram, on TikTok at Same_Difference_pod, YouTube at VI_very_own. We also have the 3S Health and Wellness Virtual Workshop, May 13th and 14th at 7 p.m. So we have Dawn Wells, who was on the episode, and she had all that great information about eating right for your blood type, how to get off or lower the meds that you're on for like chronic ailments like high blood pressure and diabetes and stuff like that. I have high blood pressure. It's been passed down. It's generational. So I'm trying to get off meds too myself. So there's a confession.
I'm gonna join that. I that sounds like good stuff right there. I join
that. There's a confession for you. And it's nothing. It's not no pseudoscience. So you prick yourself with that thing, and you can. No, it's talking about eating better based on your blood type, exercise, and how to be better with your nutrition and help you get off this stuff so we can heal ourselves the natural way. So it's only $7, May 13th and the 14th. We could not possibly get all the information. There were so many questions when we had her on. Like even Neci was trying to hog all the questions. So we decided to do this. It's about an hour each evening. It's fully engaged. It's not just talking. So I'm gonna be co-hosting. Miss Wells, Dawn Wells, she will be doing the talking, and then we have a special guest host on the 14th, if I'm not mistaken. DM us if you're interested, man, and let your people know. So here's the flyer for it.
I DMing you for sure for that. I need to be part of it. And I hope Nisi know for now I calling her Carmen San Diego.
More, man. Wait, what?
Wait, what?
It's meant to, yes, for sure. Thank you, Bongo, for sure. We need to stay strong and we need to get our minds right. For real, for real. The book was very informative. Glad you got that. I got an audio book thanks to you guys. So thanks. Come true though. Yoshi, Jerica, I come true. Come to the workshop, man. $7, you can't beat it. What else? I think that's it for me. Thank you very much. Daren, once again, thank you everybody that tuned in. Remember to share the live. Please let your people know about a different day. I think we have great discussions and it's multiple things. It's wide ranging. We got local, national news. We got trending topics. We got relationships. We got everything in between. Y'all stay tuned in. Love you guys. No episode next week, but we'll be back the week after. All right. Y'all have a good day. That's Date Like Daren. I'm Ja. It's a different date. 101.3 FM, #1 station in the U.S. Virgin Islands. We out.
Peace out.